The Radio Memories Network is brought to you in part by Liberated Syndication, podcast publishing made easy, libsyn.com. That's libsyn.com.
Welcome to the Old Time Radio Network Detective Stories, continuing America's love affair with private eyes. We now go back to the early days of radio and our imaginations with our feature presentation.
Bulldog Drummond is a radio crime drama in the United States. It was broadcast on Mutual April 13, 1941 to March 28, 1954. Bulldog Drummond was a British investigator called Bulldog because he was relentless in the pursuit of criminals. The character was created by British author H.C. Macneill. In addition to Macneill's books, Drummond was featured in a series of films from Paramount Pictures in the 1930s. Drummond was described as a polished man about town, whose hobby is crime detection and the apprehension of criminals. Radio historian John Dunning commented, with his sidekick Denny, Captain Hugh Drummond solved the usual run of murders, collected the usual run of bumps on the head, and ran afoul of underworld characters ranging from radium thieves to counterfeiters. In a 1948 column in the Oakland Tribune, media critic John Crosby called the program the first of the more successful exemplars of radio espionage and intrigue. One notable aspect of Bulldog Drummond was its opening, which evoked a London ambience with footsteps, a foghorn, shots, and 3 blasts of a police whistle. Following the sound effects, an announcer introduced the program with the line, "Out of the fog, out of the night, and into his American adventures." Now for this week's episode of Bulldog Drummond.
Out of the fog, out of the night, and into his American adventures comes Bulldog Drummond.
Once a year, there comes into every man's life, even a detective's, the time when he recaptures the spirit of his boyhood.
Hurry, hurry, hurry! This way to the main entrance to the big top.
This is the time when the greatest show on earth, the circus, has come to town. In the magic wonderland of a sawdust earth and a canvas sky, the years roll back to the springtime of life. And thus it was that Denny and I were on the midway, headed for the big top. We came to the circus in our yearly search for the thrills of lost youth. But we found murder.
Captain Drummond, just a moment, please.
What now, Denny?
That popcorn stand over there. We still have ample time for the main show.
Again. Denny, you're worse than a child. 3 hot dogs, 2 ice cream cones, 4 bags of peanuts.
Only 2 bags for myself, sir. I shared them with the elephant.
Very well, 2 bags of peanuts. And now popcorn. Denny, you'll get sick just like a child who overeats during his day at the circus.
Oh, good, sir. Then I'll feel like a child again.
Oh, well, what's the use? Very well, popcorn it'll be.
Now, really, sir. Oh, I say.
I'm sorry.
Well, young lady, I suggest that you watch where you're going. You nearly knocked me out.
I'm sorry.
Apparently, this is your pocketbook.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Come along, Denny.
Just a minute, please.
Yes?
Would you do me a favor?
What?
A very special favor. It's terribly important.
Why do you keep looking around?
Please don't ask me questions now. Just put your arms around me quickly.
What?
Now, look here, young
Put
lady.
your arms around me. He's coming this way. Please, please.
All right. Like this?
Yes.
Really, sir.
Hold me closer. Here he comes.
Closer?
Yes, please. You mustn't see me.
Like this?
Yes.
Be careful, sir. She
Don't
might...
trust me, honestly. It'll only be for a moment.
Frankly, it's a rather pleasant moment.
Captain Drummond, to say the least, this is quite unusual.
To say the least, it is, Denny. It is. Am I holding you too tightly, Miss...
No.
I didn't get your name.
Please, you mustn't ask me questions.
I warn you, sir, she's up to something.
He's gone. You can let me go now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I Afraid I was carried away with my work.
I don't know how to thank you. Perhaps I could pay you for your trouble.
Oh, no, thank you. The pleasure was mine.
You've been very kind. Goodbye.
Oh, she's running off, sir. Quick, we must follow her.
No, just a minute,
But,
Denny.
sir, she may have...
She may have what?
Well, I don't know, but a young lady just doesn't ask a stranger to embrace her unless she's up to something.
Or in trouble, which is apparently the case in which Miss X has found herself.
Oh, and now she's disappeared into the crowd and we know nothing about her.
Perhaps we can find out something.
How? By looking for the needle in the haystack?
No, Denny, by looking for the man who pursued Miss X through the crowd here.
And where do you expect to find him?
About 20 feet from the spot where we're standing.
What?
Come along. He's right over there, still looking for Miss X. There, you see, that circus attendant? He's the one.
How do you know, sir?
Because our young lady in distress fairly shuddered in my arms when he passed by. Now, I'll do the talking, Denny.
Yes, sir.
Pardon me?
Yeah?
Are you looking for someone?
What's it to you?
I can help you.
Go on, beat it.
You're looking for a young lady. I'd say she's about 25, blonde, very attractive.
Say, how do you know?
Knowing things is my business.
Where is she?
Why?
Because it's important.
To whom?
Now listen, I gotta find her and find her quick, so come on, give.
As soon as you tell me why you're finding her is so important.
Because, Nosy, that dame is Marion Morris of the Flying Morrises, the star trapeze act in this circus. The act goes on in 15 minutes, and we've been trying to find her. Now tell me, where is she?
I don't know.
What? Say, Bud, what are you giving me?
The last time I saw the young lady, she was headed for the big tent.
Get out of my way. I gotta find that dame before I lose my job.
So, our mysterious Miss X is Marion Morris, Denny.
Of the Flying Morrises. And she certainly had us up in the air.
Quite. But now that we're down to earth again, we're going to look her up.
Good. Frankly, sir, I'm curious as to why she was hiding from that man.
And, Denny, I am especially curious as to this.
Why, sir, it's a gun. Where did you get it?
While I was doing Marion Morris the favor of embracing her, she slipped this revolver into my topcoat pocket. There's their dressing room wagon, Denny.
Oh, the Flying Morrises, continental death-defying aerialists.
Come on.
Oh, why must these things always happen to us? Now we'll miss the main show and all the circus excitement.
We still have 10 minutes. Besides, I have a feeling we're in for some private excitement outside the sawdust rings. Here's the wagon.
Yes?
We're looking for Marion Morris.
What you want?
Oh, it's a personal matter. I should like to see her alone.
She not here. What you want from Marion?
I said it was a personal matter. When did you see her last?
I do not answer strangers' questions. Well, you'd better answer ours if you know what's good for you. This gentleman is Captain Hugh Drummond. You are police?
Semi-officially. Now...
Marion would do nothing wrong. She is a good girl. I bring her up since time she was so big. I, Santos Gomez, teach her always to do right. Please, you tell me why you here?
First, where is Marion now?
She in main tent with Paul.
Paul?
Yes, her husband and Chris Adams. The three of them. They are the great Flying Morrises. They do their act in 5 minutes. Please, now you tell me what kind of trouble Marion need.
I didn't say she was in trouble. But from the looks of things, she's headed straight for it.
What you mean?
This revolver.
Yeah. Where do you get it?
You recognize it?
I know someday it bring trouble. Gun bring only disaster. I tell him only wicked man have need of gun. I tell him...
This revolver isn't Marion's.
No. Marion is good girl. He make trouble. He have gun to kill. I know.
Come on. Who is he supposed to be? If this revolver isn't Marion's, whose is it?
Now the gun is his. Her husband Paul.
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver. The Lone Ranger.
Here, give me your hand, Marion. I'll help you up. Come on. That's it.
Chris Adams, the gallant young man on the flying trapeze.
I was just being helpful.
You're too helpful, Adams. I don't like it. I told you 100 times, Marion's my wife.
Why don't you treat her decently as a wife should be?
And I don't like your concern about my manners toward my wife.
Now listen, you.
Chris, not now.
And where were you two before showtime? I know you're sneaking off to meet each other.
That's a lie.
We're trailing the worst outlaw in the West.
His
name was Butch Cavendish.
Why?
They had followed his trail for many weeks.
You object
until
to our
finally
audience
They
below?
noticed that
This
the
isn't
footprints
part
of
of
the
the show.
outlaw's horse were
Wait till
fresh.
later.
There may not be later.
Cavendish now.
One slip
Yes,
from up
Tonto.
here and down
Get
and out
before
goes
I
one of
hit.
us.
Him outrun
This
us
trio
last
could
time.
very easily become a
Maybe
double
better we
jack.
shoot in sight.
I suppose that's
wanna
occurred
take
to
him
you
alive.
so many times, how
Shot.
simple it would
Steady
be
there,
to
steady,
get rid of
boy.
me.
Over there. Kill her in ambush. Him right way.
Tonto, he missed me, but he
Some
shot my
fool
horse.
once
Get
said
after
the
him.
show must go on. But I've
Tonto's
often
horse was
wondered
tired
why.
and no match in speed for the animal Cavendish rode. The outlaw escaped. When Tonto returned from the futile chase, he found the Lone Ranger standing beside his dead horse.
A good horse, Tonto. Loyal, faithful, and brave. But my next horse must be faster. I wish that... Tonto, you've heard stories of a wild horse, a fiery white stallion.
Him seen in the valley over there where Cavendish goes.
We'll be on the lookout for the wild horse while we follow Cavendish.
Tonto's horse carried the Lone Ranger's saddle, his saddlebags, and bridle, while the masked man and the Indian continued on foot along the outlaw's trail. When they reached the top of a hill,
Look, Tonto.
they halted suddenly and stared at an awe-inspiring sight far down in the valley. They saw a great white stallion in a death fight with a giant buffalo. The horse was plunging, rearing, charging, and dodging
Ladies
wildly.
and gentlemen,
the
I
sun
give you
flashed
the
from his coat
unhappy
as from a coat
flying
of polished
Morrison.
silver.
Please stop.
They
Let's get
realized
ready.
that
May I
this
have
was
the
the
rosin
legendary
bag? My
white
hands are
stallion,
damp.
the one ranchers and
here.
hunters had talked so much about.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now, how did that happen?
I'll try to
You
shoot the
got that
buffalo.
rosin bag
Too
perfect.
far.
Did I?
Pistol shot. I'll get closer before it's too late.
Trying to
As he ran downhill, the Lone Ranger watched
Let's
the
get
battle.
going.
The sleek
Keep our
white
audience
stallion was
waiting.
nimble and courageous,
Oh,
but his
by the
strength
way,
began to
Chris,
wane. The buffalo
I'll go
charged
first
again and
today.
again. The
You'll
slender
do
muscles
my
of a white
routine,
horse were
including
slower
the
in
double
responding,
flip.
then too slow.
do that
He was caught by the buffalo's
I
charge.
said he'll do the
White
double
crimson
flip.
stained his
That
pure
might
white
not
coat.
be
Another
killed.
charge. The white horse saw it coming, and he
That's
couldn't
right,
dodge.
my
He
dear.
staggered and fell.
If
The
Chris
monster
does
drew
that
back and
double
lowered
flip
his
in
head
my
for the
place,
death charge.
he might
Then
be killed.
two shots rang out.
Well, here
The
I
buffalo
go.
shuddered from the
Come on,
impact
and
of the
good luck,
masked man's bullets. For an instant, he stood motionless.
Don't worry, Marion.
Then
I can handle
fell.
it.
I don't know what got into him.
My last day with the act. Better that way.
I'll be back in a few seconds.
It's my turn now.
Careful.
I'll be okay. Here he comes.
All right, Chris, get into your act.
Here goes nothing.
True words were never spoken.
Oh, you're trying to have Chris kill himself.
Really,
Only
Marion,
battered
such
and
concern.
bruised, the white
You must
stallion
believe
lay
that there's
quietly
nothing between
as the
Chris
Lone
and me.
Ranger
Of course.
bathed his wounds.
And you love me, don't you?
During the next several
Don't you
days,
love
the
me?
masked man and the
How
Indian
could I?
cared for the injured horse. Then the wounds
There's
were
your
closed.
precious
and
Chris.
The horse's strength
Now
had
let's
returned.
see how he comes out on
There was
double
once
flip.
more fire in his eye, a spring in his step.
He made it.
And his head was
He
lifted
made it.
proudly.
Yes, he made it. Well, now we can have that little talk later after all. I'll get up to the next platform.
I
Give
wonder
Chris
if
my
you can
congratulations.
settle. Let's try.
Well, I did it.
Thank you.
Ready for your swing?
Yes.
Ready down there?
Ready?
No,
There he
Tonto,
goes.
wait.
Now get set.
Let him go.
That
Marion, wait. Look.
That horse more than anything in the world. But he deserves his freedom.
He's broken. Chris,
Fought
he
for
can't
it.
hold on. Hold!
He's turned to look at us. See how the sun reflects from his white coat.
Him look like silver.
Silver.
I'll be back in a
Name
moment
for
to
him.
continue our story.
Silver! Look at him. Silver! Hey, Silver! Tonto, he's coming back. It's just as if he knew what I said. Silver!
The greatest show on
Silver,
earth
you beauty.
unfolds a drama
Hand me the halter,
packed with
Tonto.
thrills and excitement.
As the mighty
But on a
stallion felt the
trapeze
halter, he
platform,
trembled as
70
if from a
feet above
chill.
the sawdust
Every
ring,
instinct told him that he must
a
flee at
private
once to
drama went
preserve
on.
his freedom. And yet he
Result?
stood his ground.
A
It
man
wasn't
is
gratitude that kept him there. It was something stronger, some mysterious bond of friendship and understanding. He heard the man's voice,
was
and he
terrible.
liked it.
Silver.
He didn't have a chance.
Silver.
He didn't.
We're going to be partners.
Him let you use halter.
Now, Tonto, the saddle.
No horse like that. Take saddle.
There never was a horse like this. Now, Silver,
I don't know how
we're going to work together.
The horse was wild and unused to the ways of men and the weight of a saddle and a rider. But the masked man was a kind teacher. He was gentle yet firm, and Silver was intelligent. The stallion seemed to sense the desires of the Lone Ranger and did his best to cooperate. He learned quickly, and after several days of training, he was ready.
Follow me, Tonto.
I will not let
I'm
you
going
be
after
disturbed.
Cavendish. Come on, Silver.
Rest.
No hoofs had ever beat the plains like those thundering hoofs of the great horse Silver.
I should like to
During the
speak to
past
Miss
few
Morris.
days,
I
Cavendish had
will
gotten
not
far
let
away,
her be
but the masked
disturbed.
man and Tonto trailed
Let
him
her look on
relentlessly
that.
with only a minimum of rest. It took days
Wait.
to cut down the outlaw's
Wait a
lead,
minute, I
but at
say
long
you
last,
come
Cavendish
later,
came to the
Marion.
There he is. Come on, Silver.
Mrs. Morris.
The mighty stallion responded with a new burst of speed. Cavendish fired wild shots over his shoulder until his gun was empty. His horse, though powerful and fast, was no match for the charging Silver. Fear and panic filled the outlaw's face. He heard the hoofbeats ever nearer, and then the masked man shout,
I want
I
you,
can explain
Cavendish.
that. I wanted to get rid of that gun.
The masked
I
man's
was
avowed
afraid that my
mission was
husband
accomplished.
would-
The last of the Cavendish
your
gang
husband
was
would what,
captured
Mrs.
to be
Morris?
tried by law and punished for his crimes.
Kill
But
Chris
there were
Adams
many
with that
others
gun.
whose criminal plans were to be
Captain
challenged
Adams.
by the Lone Ranger,
Poor
his
Richard.
faithful
He
Indian
was in
companion
Richard.
Tonto, and his
And
great horse
there was
Silver.
no reason for it. You must believe me. I had to get rid of that gun before something terrible happened.
Marion tells truth. I
Yes, undoubtedly.
Yes, it is the truth. Captain Drummond, it is. You must believe it. Hey,
know. You leave Marion alone. She has great tragedy when her husband died in accident.
But Paul Morris's death wasn't an accident.
what are you saying? It wasn't an accident.
Both ropes supporting his trapeze had been filed down to give way under heavy strain.
What you say?
I say Paul Morris was the victim of a planned, deliberate murder. Over here, Denny. Over here.
No sign of Chris Adams anywhere, sir. I searched the entire circus area. What about you?
No luck either. I've been spotting his dressing wagon over there for the past hour. He hasn't shown up. Denny, it's about time we had a look into that tent. Come on, we're through waiting.
Well, in the vernacular, sir, Adams has taken it on the leg of mutton.
On the lamb, Denny.
Well, whatever it is, sir, he's gone. There's no doubt in my mind that he's the murderer. He's the one who filed those trapeze ropes.
That's a valid possibility.
Possibility? It's a certainty, sir. The motive is well established. He hated Paul Morris.
So did Santos. And don't forget that Santos was in charge of packing and setting up the axe equipment. As a matter of fact, Denny, Mrs. Morris doesn't escape my suspicion either.
But neither Santos nor Mrs. Morris ran away. That much is in their favor.
Yes, that and nothing more. All right, come on in. We'll see what this dressing room has to offer. Pull on that light over there.
I say, sir, what if Adam should return and find us here?
But, Denny, you're the one who's convinced he's flown the coop.
Yes, but, you know, sir, just in case.
Then his presence will be most welcome. In the meantime, let's have a look around. See what you can find in that trunk over there. I'll look into this one.
Yes, sir. Nothing in here, sir. Nothing but his circus attire.
There's a valise over there near the dressing table. Check on that. Well,
What is it, sir?
come here, Denny. Look at this.
Captain Drummond.
Is this what the well-equipped aerialist carries about?
A carpenter's file. Well-equipped murderer is more like it. I told you all along, sir. Adams is the murderer. There's Exhibit A.
So it seems.
Don't move. You're both covered. Why, sir, I said don't move.
It's the circus attendant who pursued Mrs. Morris through the crowd this evening.
So it is. You know, Denny, we've quite forgotten to take this gentleman into consideration.
All right, cut the jabber, you two. What are you doing here?
We might ask you the same question.
Yeah, you might. Only me and this shooter asking the questions. Hey, what's that you got in your hands?
As if the gentleman didn't know, Denny.
Cut the act. What is it?
A carpenter's file.
And a murder weapon.
Murder weapon?
The gentleman appears genuinely surprised.
Come on, give.
If you insist, this file was evidently used in bringing about the death of Paul Morris this evening.
And you found it here in Adam's tent?
That's the general idea.
Hey, what are you two doing mixed up in this business?
The name is Drummond. I specialize in this type of business.
Your name's what?
Captain Drummond. And I'm Denny.
Well, why didn't you say so?
You didn't ask. Does it make any difference?
Oh, it doesn't make any difference. I'm tailing this guy Adams myself for the Acme Insurance Company. Name's Al Monahan.
You're a detective?
Yeah. This guy Adams had a trapeze act with a dame in another show last year. The dame's a nice kid named Evelyn Roberts. So one night Evelyn takes a 60-foot dive and she's out of this world. To the cops, everything looks legit. And Adams collects the insurance on the act. But Acme don't like the way the case smells, so they retain me to bloodhound Adams, which I do. So Adams ties up with the Morrises
I told you, sir, Adams was the killer.
Go on, Monahan.
So he ties up with the Morrises. The way I see it, he makes a play for the dame, which ain't hard on account of she ain't so hot for a ball and chain anyway. So Adams is in solid. Morris takes a nosedive thanks to Adams. The dame knows from nothing, and Adams works her for a grab of the insurance dough.
Well, aren't you going to tell Mrs. Morris?
You crazy. The dame's in love with the guy. She might even give him the tip-off. No, I just sit and wait for Adams.
I say, imagine that, sir. He expects to capture a killer just by sitting and waiting.
Sure, it's easy. I keep an open eye on the dame. Now she's the cheese in my trap. Adams is hungry for that insurance dough, and when she gets it, the rat comes out of his hole for the nibble, and Monahan's got him.
Take the car around back to the garage, Denny. I'll go up to the apartment a while.
Yes, sir.
Captain Drummond.
Adams.
I thought you'd never get here. I've been waiting outside your house for hours.
And I've been looking for you.
I know it, but it had to be this way. I've got to talk to you.
All right, you can talk to me down at police headquarters.
No, you don't understand. You've got to help me.
The way you helped Paul Morris?
Believe me, I had nothing to do with it.
Oh, yes, it was an accident. Like Evelyn Roberts' death.
Evelyn?
I know all about it.
Evelyn's death was an accident. I was completely exonerated.
It won't be that simple this time. Now you're up against an open and shut case of murder.
But I don't...
With evidence complete, down to the murder weapon. The carpenter's file found in your trunk.
But that's impossible. Don't you see? That murder wasn't planned for Paul Morris.
What?
Paul made me switch parts with him tonight. He was doing my routine. I perform on the upper trapeze. That murder was planned for me.
Now, Adams, you understand what you're supposed to do?
Yes. I'm to walk in as if I knew nothing. I'm to play for time.
Right. And play it to the hilt.
Thank you, sir. I don't understand all this, letting Mr. Adams walk into a trap, probably to certain death.
He'll be protected.
May I ask how?
You'll see, Denny.
Oh, really, sir? It's as if you didn't trust me.
Why, Denny.
Well, it's true. And that telegram you received this morning, you were secretive about that, too.
Denny, you'll learn everything in due time, if things work out to my expectations.
Please, sir, do you mind giving Mr. Adams and me just a slight idea of what you expect to happen?
I'm borrowing from the detective Monahan.
But it's obvious now that Monahan's conclusions were wrong.
Oh, it's not his conclusions. It's his method of trapping the killer that appeals to me. I think it'll work out. At any rate, we'll soon find out. Here's Marion Morris's dressing wagon. Adams, you go first.
All right.
Yes, come in. Chris!
Hello, Marion.
Chris, where have you been? Oh, Captain Drummond.
We came along. I've some news for you.
You found my husband's murderer. I knew Chris didn't do it. I knew it.
Where is Santos?
Oh, no. It isn't Santos. He wouldn't...
I suggest that you answer Captain Drummond's question. Where is he?
Why, he's packing our equipment away.
Shall I get him, sir?
In a moment,
Oh,
Denny.
Santos didn't do it. Please believe me. He wouldn't.
Then perhaps you, Mrs. Morris.
Me? Kill my husband?
There, sir. We've got her dead to rights. She's lying.
Marion, you knew that I was to use the upper trapeze.
That your husband switched routines at the last minute.
Switched routines?
Yes, and you knew it. Stop acting, Mrs. Morris.
Paul switched routines with Chris. Yes. Yes, that's right. Paul did switch routines with Chris.
Marion, you wanted to kill me.
No, Chris, no,
What? Captain Drummond, what was that?
My expectations. Come on, Denny. You two wait here.
Captain Drummond, I have him.
Why, sir, it's Santos and Monahan.
Good work, Santos.
Drummond, I should have knocked you off last night.
Why, then, sir, it was Monahan all the time.
He tried to kill, like you say, Captain Drummond. I stop him in time. I grab gun, the shot, it go into the air.
You can let him go now, Santos. I have him covered.
But, sir, whom was he shooting at?
Chris Adams.
Yeah, and I would have gotten him if you...
By the way, Monahan, your sleuth act went well. I believed you up to a point.
Then he isn't a private detective after all?
No, Denny. That telegram I received this morning, the one about which you were so curious, came from the Acme Insurance Company in answer to an inquiry of mine. They had no detective trailing Adams, not even one named Monahan.
Well, then who is he?
Roberts. That's who I am, Al Roberts.
Roberts? Evelyn Roberts.
Chris Adams' former partner, the one who fell to her death.
The one they murdered, my sister. They lied. The cops, all of them, they lied. He murdered her. I'll get him yet.
As usual, sir, I'm surprised at the outcome. How did you know that Monahan, or rather Roberts, was the killer?
I didn't. I was just curious as to where he fitted in this case.
But what prompted you to check on him in the first place?
Just a hunch, Denny. And also his philosophy of sitting and waiting for a killer.
What do you mean, sir?
A good detective just doesn't sit and wait for things to happen.
Oh, on the contrary, sir, I consider you the finest of detectives.
Thank you, Denny.
And I was about to suggest, after we deliver Roberts here to the police, that you join me in some sitting and waiting.
Denny, what are you talking about?
The big top over there, sir. I suggest that we sit down peacefully in the stands in the big top and quietly wait for the circus to begin.
I'll be back in a moment to tell you about next week's story. A mysterious phone call arouses my curiosity. And so Denny and I are off on a strange story that begins with a stabbing and ends in murder. I call this story The Deadly Stand-In. Be sure to listen, won't you?